Raising your standard. Let's talk about the hard truth no one tells you about standards. Your relationship standards directly reflect your actual self-worth, not the self-worth you claim to have. I've seen this pattern repeatedly with hundreds of clients. They insist they have high standards while accepting relationships that consistently disappoint them. This gap between stated standards and actual behavior reveals the painful reality of where your true beliefs about your worth actually lie. Most people claim to have high standards when discussing relationships. They create detailed lists of what they want in a partner: someone kind, successful, attractive, emotionally available, and committed. Yet these same people often accept relationships that provide few of these qualities. They date partners who treat them poorly, lack emotional depth, or demonstrate values completely opposed to their own. This disconnect reveals what you actually believe you deserve, not what you say you want. Amanda told everyone she required respect, honesty, and emotional availability in relationships. Yet she stayed 3 years with a partner who regularly lied about where he spent his evenings, made hurtful comments about her appearance, and shut down any conversation involving feelings. Her relationship reality reflected her true belief that demanding better treatment might leave her alone. How can you tell if your standards are actual requirements or just preferences you'll abandon when tested? Look at your relationship history. Requirements are lines you've never crossed regardless of how attracted you were to someone. Preferences are qualities you've repeatedly compromised on when chemistry felt strong or when staying seemed easier than leaving. Many claimed standards disappear completely when faced with the possibility of rejection or loneliness. The standards that matter aren't the ones you talk about. They're the ones your actions consistently demonstrate. If you say you require honesty but repeatedly date people who lie, honesty isn't actually your standard. If you claim to need emotional connection, but stay in shallow relationships, deep connection isn't truly your standard. Your real standards reveal themselves through what you consistently accept. Here's an uncomfortable truth most relationship coaches avoid. Raising your standards means being willing to be alone rather than compromising on what matters. This reality stops many people from establishing genuine standards. They fear Saturday nights without plans more than they fear relationships that don't meet their needs. This choice keeps them cycling through disappointing connections rather than creating space for fulfilling relationships. Many people unknowingly lower their standards over time due to fear or convenience. They start relationships with clear expectations, but as attachments form, they gradually accept behaviors they initially would have considered deal-breaker. The human tendency to adapt to circumstances works against maintaining standards. Like the frog in slowly heating water, you adjust to declining relationship quality until you accept treatment you once would have immediately rejected. Thomas started dating his partner with clear standards about financial responsibility. He valued saving, careful spending, and transparency about money. Initially, his partner's occasional impulsive purchases seemed minor. Over 2 years, these behaviors escalated to hidden debt and secret credit cards. By then, Thomas had gradually adjusted his standards to accommodate each new boundary crossing, showing how standards erode without conscious maintenance. Your boundaries and standards function as interdependent systems. One cannot exist without the other. Standards represent what you require in relationships, while boundaries are the actions you take when those standards aren't met. Without boundaries to enforce them, standards remain theoretical ideas. This explains why many people with apparently high standards remain in substandard relationships. They lack the boundary enforcement necessary to make their standards operational. Many people struggle to distinguish between unrealistic expectations and legitimate standards. Unrealistic expectations demand perfection or require someone to fulfill needs they cannot reasonably meet. Legitimate standards focus on how you're treated, whether core values align, and if the relationship contributes positively to your life. The difference lies in whether your standards require someone to be superhuman or simply to be consistently respectful, honest, and aligned with your fundamental values. Your willingness to walk away ultimately determines the treatment you receive in relationships. This truth has proven itself repeatedly in my work with clients. People treat you according to what you accept. When you demonstrate through action that you'll stay regardless of how your standards are violated, you inadvertently communicate that your standards don't actually matter. Your partner may not consciously recognize this dynamic, but it shapes their behavior nonetheless. Lisa struggled with a partner who regularly dismissed her opinions and made decisions without consulting her. Despite expressing her unhappiness, nothing changed, until she packed her bags after a particularly dismissive incident. This action communicated her standards more clearly than years of conversations. Her partner's behavior changed because the consequences became real rather than theoretic. Most people underestimate how significantly their friend circle influences their relationship standards. When your friends accept poor treatment in their relationships, it normalizes similar treatment in yours. Conversely, friends who maintain high standards provide both examples and support for doing the same. This social influence explains why people often maintain different standards in different social environments. Your action step is to write down your non-negotiable standards and share them with an accountability partner. This writing process forces clarity about what you truly require rather than just prefer. Be specific rather than general. Instead of respect, define exactly what respectful treatment looks like in daily interactions. Rather than honesty, clarify what transparency you need about specific life areas. This specificity prevents the rationalization that often occurs when standards remain vague. Sharing these standards with someone who cares about your well-being creates accountability when emotions might override your better judgment. Choose someone who maintains high standards themselves and will question you when you begin making excuses for treatment that violates your stated requirements. Their perspective helps maintain clarity when attraction or attachment begins clouding your assessment of relationship quality.
Through everything we've covered, one truth stands out clearly. Your relationship with yourself creates the template for every other connection in your life. The quality of partner you attract, the treatment you accept, and the dynamics you create all reflect your relationship with yourself. Taking full responsibility for your relationship choices is uncomfortable but essential for different outcomes. Blaming others, circumstances, or bad luck keeps you stuck in patterns that never serve you. Master yourself first. Understand the psychology behind real attraction. Set proper boundaries from day one. Continue growing. The depth of relationship you can create directly reflects the depth of person you become.